it's always like it's already been doing that, so it kind of
I
came
think the
out.
screw came out then.
So what?
There's a screw.
No, the screw's still there.
There's a screw here.
Yeah,
You see it?
yeah.
Hey everyone.
This thing just always pops out. It's this specific side. Last one
Morning.
too. I don't know. It's always this one.
Oh, give me a minute.
First time I see my new glasses. Oh my god, he's here. Oh, my professor is in the meeting.
Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
I'm all right. Just relaxing because of the snow day.
Yeah, yeah. Must be nice, right? Okay, let me see if I can actually start this thing. I got like mad windows open. Okay. Hey everyone.
Hello. Sorry, I'm kind of outside right now.
That's wild. This is gonna be an interesting class because it's kind of one of the most important classes we have to do. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is like a really important class and it's a snow day and like we can't really do like the group work that I wanted to try and do. So I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna show you examples of what I'm expecting, and then I'll try and share like YouTube links so that way you guys can like watch probably other videos and other people explain it on your own time. Um, but what we're going to talk about is non-destructive editing, specifically masks. How do I switch? Okay, but we have to go back to the brush tool. And the brush tool is going to be really important moving forward with this masks thing because it's basically how we sort of dictate what we're trying to do. So to remember these important shortcuts, it's the brush tool shortcut is B. The convert to black and white is D. X is to switch between any color, which is the front or the back color. Let's say it's red or blue or black and white. And then to make the brush bigger or smaller, you use the open brackets and the closed brackets. And then we'll talk about opacity again later on. But I'll show an example of what that does as well. And so destructive editing is what we've kind of been doing in the class so far, where we sort of like make a selection, copy and paste, and then we just sort of like we discard the original layer or we just sort of turn it off and we just work with this new copy version of it. In a sense, that's kind of like cutting something out and then just like using that. It's a destructive way of editing, and I'm going to try and show that really quick right here. Well, we have this little river, and then hold up, I gotta find the rest of the pictures. Where are they? Let me stop sharing for a second. Um, and so what we've been doing so far, like I said, is copy and pasting, copy and pasting. And that's great, but in a sense, it's sort of like this destructive way. And what I'm going to show now is that exact thing. So let me go back to sharing my screen. Oh man, Dexter, just teach a Photoshop class online. It's great. It's awesome. Okay, so um here we have this thing. I'm going to zoom in real quick. And wow, I want to put this person on a kayak in this river, right? What we would normally do is, let's see, I make a selection and I'm going to use the quick select tool. And I'm just going to very quickly select this person, get the paddle, get the water, and get all of this. And then copy and paste. And I'll turn this one off. And you can kind of see, oh, I did like an all right job. I made some mistakes, but I can still move this around and you kind of see the bounds in which I'm working with. This is what we would normally do. And if I wanted to add a new layer like this bear, I would come over here again, make a selection tool, use this one. Where's my mouse? Whoa, I got the bear. Whoa, there it is. And I'm going to copy and paste and turn this layer off. And again, oh no, I made a mistake. I could probably use the eraser tool to clean it up if the eraser tool wants to come out. I can like clean it up with the eraser tool like that, and then I can just sort of move them like in the background. So that way, hey, if it's far away, it's small. Perspective, that's great. Is everyone following me so far? I know I'm speaking a little fast. This should be kind of familiar with what we've been doing because it is what we've been doing.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yay. Let me make sure I have the chat open too, because I need to make sure I see what you guys are saying. Um, so That's all well and good. Oh God, I made the chat huge. That's all well and good. What we're gonna do now is I've lost the presentation over here. Um, God damn it. Non-destructive editing allows you to make changes to the image while still preserving the original image slash layer, allowing you to go back and make changes at any point and not have to worry about starting over. Non-destructive things we've been doing so far are like layers, like again, I talked about like this hierarchy of like how we use layers. Whatever's at the top of the pile is what you see first. And if you think about like if you were to paste something and you can't move the layers around, you're sort of gluing it into place. And that is what exporting is, right? You're kind of gluing everything, making everything finalized. But before you glue everything in, you still have the opportunity to like move things around if you're working on like a collage. Same thing with Photoshop. You're not gluing anything down. Smart filters, we've kind of touched on with like the Photoshop geometry and with the um, like vanishing points. And masks and adjustment are we going to be dealing with the next 2 weeks. Mask is this week and adjustments is next week. Um, and what are masks? So far, when you use the selection tool to copy and paste a specific element on an image, you're destroying the initial part, like to get that one thing, or like you're just copy it and then like you're discarding the original layer. Masks allow you to edit and sort of hide things on that original layer, not having to copy and paste, but also you're able to bring things back. Hey, I imagine. Okay, that's fine. I don't think we're going to be doing any in-class assignments today because I think it's a little crazy, like how everything is. My life is crazy right now. And I think it's like, why would I make you do work right now? We're just going to do double work next week. Sorry, Carla, I saw
So,
that.
next week, are we gonna like try to do this as much as possible while also trying to fit in the next week's
Yes,
class?
so we're gonna do they go very much hand in hand. You like to learn adjustments, you have to learn masks. And so once we start one, the other one is actually gonna be very simple to learn.
All
So
right.
I don't think when I say double the work, I'm not actually mean like here's like two assignments you have to do. It's very much once you understand masks, everything else like adjustments and then further things we'll learn will be very similar as well. So I'm going to show this other example, what we would have done in class. So I have this blue thing here, right? I'm going to add a new layer with the add layer button, and I want to make this red. So I'm going to use the paint bucket tool. You can kind of already see I have it set to red over here and over here on the top left. Click red, right? Now, to kind of show what masks are, before I even make a selection, I'm going to go to this bottom button all the way over here. Let me go back to that presentation so I can show you exactly what it is. This is the Create Mask button. It's going to be one of your best friends. This is the Create New Layer. This is Create Masks. And then this one right here is the adjustments, which we'll talk about next week. So I'm going to press that little white box with the circle in the middle. And you can kind of see over here in the corner that I get a new thumbnail. I get this new thumbnail right next to the red, and it's all white. And white is pretty much showing you what you're seeing of this layer. So white means show, and what black is going to mean is like that's what's hiding. So if I bring out the brush tool right now, and I have it set to white over here on the side, and I start to paint over this, nothing's going to happen because what that does is just sort of show you. I have that specific layer selected. If I go back to this layer and I paint, I'm just painting red actually over here and I paint on that. I'm painting on that layer, right? I'm painting on the red. If I make sure I go to the white thumbnail and I flip this to black, pressing X, you can kind of see here in the bottom left that I'm flipping between black and white. Black, and I go on the white thumbnail, I'm able to make a smiley face. And everything that I am sort of using black on, think of it as like cutting through that first layer, right? I'm cutting through the red to show what's underneath it. So I'm showing the blue. And the beauty of this is I can just really mess with it, right? It's a brush. I'm going to make it really huge. I'm going to really mess with this. And you can see that that thumbnail now goes fully black because I've hidden everything away. And the beauty of mask is, oh, I don't have to undo everything to come back. I can convert this back to white. I'm gonna make this brush smaller and I can start to show that original layer back again. Does that make sense? the mask comes up and it just sort of like covers everything. Anything that is white in that thumbnail is what you can see of that layer, and anything that is black is what you're hiding. So if I wanted to, I can come back and just show everything again. I can completely make everything visible again. So I'm not making a selection yet. I'm just sort of hiding and showing things. If I flip it back to black, I can make the smiley face again. Okay, so far?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yay. Okay, so here's where it gets a little complicated. If I go back to the presentation, I could do the same thing with what we did before, but first I make a selection. So if I go back to that first one over here, I'm going to undo all of this. Do, 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 do. And let's say I have this image. I'm going to make a selection first, right? I'm going to click over here and I'm going to make a selection of the kayak, the person, their hat. I'm gonna get this paddle over here and this over here, all of that. And then I'm going to hit mask. And you can see that, oh no, I missed part of the arm, I missed over here. But over here, you can still see the mask and you can kind of see the outline of the person. And the beauty of this is, oh, because this is a mask, I can bring out the brush tool. I can make this a little smaller and I'm going to convert this to white. And I can fill the image back in. And because I have sort of a wide brush, I'm sort of like bringing in more than I need to, but this is just sort of an example. And so I'm able to bring it all back in. And if I try and move this image around, what I'm actually doing is I'm moving the entire image because I didn't just copy and paste a new layer. I'm still have the entire image here. If I wanted to, I can make this brush really big and just bring the entire image back in. And then I can come over here and I'll delete just the mask thumbnail. So show that again, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make a selection. Let's say I just want the person's head, their arms, and I don't want the paddle or the kayak. I'll make it a little neat. I hit the mask, boom, everything but that is showing, right? I get to keep the person's head, I get to keep their hands. And if I wanted to, now I can come back in with the brush and change it so that way it's all showing again. Although I did a kind of a bad job because I'm a little rushing. But if I wanted to do undo all of it and I wanted to be really careful about it, I'm going to try the object select tool. Let's see if that works. Ooh, no, not quick select. Object select. Come on. Come on. Click. That's going to get the entire person. Nope, it just got their okay. Well, add to the selection. Click, click, click. So what I'm trying to show here is that once you make one selection, you can keep adding to that before you make the mask. And the idea is you want to make sure you get the mask right the first time. So that way you have everything right so you don't have to go in and make any adjustments, even though you have the opportunity to. So let me see if I can come in here and really get the paddle right. Is it gonna let me? No. All right, I'm gonna have to do it myself. Whee. So if you think about what we've done before in the class, let's say with the hybrid animal, when you were trying to get like its head or its neck, and you're like, ah, I made the wrong selection, I need to start over, or I got like its head and its body, but you know what? I don't want its head anymore. You would have to go back and make a whole new selection. Here you can just select parts of the image and then just continue from there or add or erase as much as you want. Okay, so I spent some time on it, but it's not perfect. I'll bring out the brush tool. No problem. No biggie. I just fill it in. Do, 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 do. And then there we go. And if I want to do the same thing with the bear, I'll click over here. Here's the whole bear image. I'm gonna do the object select tool again. It should give me the whole bear. Bear, 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 bear. Nope, I have the wrong image selected. Okay, so I click it and again, mask. And because I have the whole image still in place, you can see that the shape of the whole image is still there. I can have multiple masks across multiple layers. And although technically you can have multiple layers within multiple masks within one layer, we're not going to get with that. That's a little too complicated. We don't need to complicate things that much. So I'm just going to delete that second mask. We just have one mask and one layer. And so I can make this smaller, hide it over there. And let's say I want to make this really big, right? As I change the image around, you can see that the thumbnail of the bear and what is showing is also changing as well, because it's kind of showing you what is hidden across the entire canvas, not just the image itself. So if I make this bear really huge, he's going to take over that entire thumbnail. You can think about when we start to manipulate lots and lots of layers at once, being able to see where things are exactly, like across the entire canvas, is important, especially when we start to work with like smaller details, like when we do like more graphic design focused stuff. And if you ever want to see how you're editing and how things look, you can press Option and then click on the mask thumbnail, and that's going to show you everything that is black and white. And white is what you can see, black is what you cannot. So if I make this really huge, obviously it's going to take over the entire screen, or if I make it really small, you're not seeing the rest of the image, but you still have the idea that anything black within this image is hiding. So I'm going to click that again. Boom. There's the image. It's hiding everything but the bear. Yeah? How we doing with this so far?
Cool.
I understand.
Cool. All right. Let me try and move this. How do I move this? How do I move this? How do I move this? Oh, that's great. Look at that. Okay, so let me go back to the presentation. Do. Yep, add the bear. Oh, we have this thing. We'll deal with that next week because it does get a little more complicated. But basically, once you have, I was going to introduce the type tool, you can make a selection on one layer, and then you can sort of make that mask on another. Sort of like how we did with that person's jacket. Like we selected the person's jacket and we made the copy and paste on like the ocean, so that way the person's jacket turned into the ocean. You can do that with masks. And so with here, you can kind of see that New York City, here's that O over like over the Freedom Tower. It's there. And then once you make the mask, you're only seeing that part of the O because that's the only part that's showing. But you can invert the mask so that way anything that is was showing before is now hiding, right? And so now it looks like it's behind the building. And then what we could do is sort of like do this thing where we sort of unchain the two. So let me see if I can do that with this over here. So I have this bear over here and he's great. He's awesome. I'm going to invert the mask. So now you see everything but the bear, right? So I can sort of like really have fun with how I use masks. So I can sort of use this as a cutout, and it's like if I wanted to, like, ooh, it's a nature photo, waterfall with a with an outline of a bear. But to sort of like take this a step further, I'm going to invert this again. You can kind of see how it changes over here in the thumbnail. What is white goes black, and what is black goes white. And if I were to unchain them with this thing here, I can move one independently of the other. So I can move just the mask, even though it's shaped like a bear, or I can move just the image. And you can kind of see the outline of the two. So this is when things get a little complicated with Photoshop because it's sort of manipulating the image in way more ways than we have before. Like we're not just bending it, we're not just manipulating perspective, we're really sort of complicating each layer individually. I can go over to this kayak one and same thing. I can move just the kayak around, or I can move the mask of the person, right? Here it is, but of course it's only within the bounds of that image. How are we so far? Because I know this is where things get tricky. Like a big ass head. Okay, so what's next? What I wanted us to do was sort of like have an experiment of we'll get to this, we'll get to this. Like understanding what happens when we really start to layer photographs that we're taking in class. So everyone, I want the first person to sort of like actually think about this, and then I'll ask, think about what it's gonna look like. So this is a photograph of me on a chair, just sort of sitting around. I take a second photograph of just the background with me not in it, but then I make a mask of me on that chair. What is this going to look like? Right? We have a background of just the wall, and then there's a photograph of me floating in a chair, and I've masked just myself out. What will that look like? Glass blood. Any ideas? You can
The
also
chair
just
will be gone.
the chair will be gone, right? What's gonna happen is I'm floating. right? I am floating because I keep just myself and the chair is hidden away. But because I have two images taken pretty much in the same place, it looks like I'm floating. But the chair is there, kind of like with the person in the kayak. The whole image is still there. I'm just hiding that one section. If I wanted to, I can bring it back. But what is the difference between this one and this photograph? It's kind of obvious when I kind of flip back and forth.
The shadow.
The shadows. The shadows is what sort of helps make the photograph look like it's more realistic. If we were to take a photograph of like Spider-Man from online and bring it into another photograph, obviously there's no shadows to cast there, so it just feels a little weird. It looks like he's just sort of floating in space. But when we are able to take actual photograph of each other and in real spaces and manipulate them, we have shadows. We can sort of like manipulate colors and make sure things look the same. And this is sort of like to get to the point where fine details can matter when blending seamlessly into the background image. Things like shadows or badly selected people and objects can make a photograph go from looking pretty good to looking like you kind of did like a crappy job. So if I were to like mask that chair out I was sitting on and I leave these little things, when you start to sort of like scrutinize the photograph and look a little more deeper, you see that, oh, yeah, I didn't do a good job selecting this. Coming to here, this photograph again, that's where that mesh is. Over here, the mesh right next to my shoulder. If I don't do a good job selecting and then using that brush tool to clean up the edges, the photograph is going to feel um, badly edited. And it's going to look like you just took one photograph from one place and dragged it into somewhere else. I took Goku from Google and just dropped him into the middle of Times Square. But if I'm able to think about how I can manipulate shadows and things, that is where it starts to feel more realistic. And then once we understand that, you can get even a more complicated like this, where we're starting to manipulate layers on top of layers on top of layers. They're all taken within like the same atmosphere, but I'm blending them more and more seamlessly together. So I understand where my arms are, I understand where my body is supposed to be, I understand where things are supposed to be in relation to each other. And so it can get more complicated and even more complicated. So this is, let's say, four photographs. There is one of just the empty little IKEA thing, and then one of me in this space, one of me in this space, and then one going across these two shelves. But I'm masking the photograph in very specific ways, where I catch the shadows, like on the back of my head, and I catch my arms and my hands and make sure everything feels realistic. Understanding the relationship of how to make things feel realistic. And then this is what we were going to do in class, kind of where we kind of make floating objects. Where if I were to take my glasses off and just sort of like move my head, um, I can just mask out my hand and then they'll look like they're floating. But if I take, a photograph here, but then I kind of face my glasses over there, the background changes. So this image works of the glasses because they took the image, let's say, against the wall of nothing and then again of their hand. And so it all sort of works. Although I think I'm getting a knock on my door. Pause. We're gonna take like a 5-minute break. Wait here. Incredibly unprofessional, guys. I'm sorry. In the class evaluations at the end of the semester, just give me all Fs. I walked away from class. I never walk away from class. I'm just kidding. Um, so if we think about how we can manipulate space and understanding the relationship of these images, with the AirPods, it's a very similar thing where I just take a picture of an AirPod, let's say a mouse, and I just sort of like keep it floating in space. And because there's no see-through element of this, I can just take a picture of it and then just mask out my hand and I can put it wherever I want floating in space. So he just takes a picture of the AirPods, holding it like that, and then just mask them out and he's holding in his hand like that. So that is like floating objects. Next, we can manipulate scale. When we start to understand math, we can sort of like make one person look really huge and then one person look kind of small, like this person over here sort of floating, sliding down the pole, and this giant hand coming in, right? We can take a picture of the hand and we can sort of like squish it on somebody else, and we can make a person feel tiny. Let me see if I can zoom in on that a little more. So this is like a tiny person sliding down the handrail. This person's just sitting here, scared of that giant hand, right? And it feels good, but you can, and now that I'm zooming in more, you can see that tiny little bits where they didn't do a great job making masks, and selecting and using the brush tool to edit it. Right there a little bit. But it's still like overall, if you don't pay attention too much, it looks great. And then we can manipulate a little further by cloning ourselves, right? If we understand where one version of us is supposed to be, we can sit somewhere else, copy and take a picture and then make a copy of ourselves because if I'm in one spot, I can move myself to another and overlap the masks so that way they're not touching. So this is one person sitting here and then they're standing on the stairs. And there's just two different masks, four, five, six, seven different masks or six masks here and then seven with the original background image. And I used this version here and this one to show an example that although they did a great job, one going down the stairs, one looking out the window, this one lacks the shadows. So you can kind of see that the person is just sort of floating in space. They cast a light on their face and their whole body, but they're missing the shadows on the person itself. So that's how it kind of looks like it's just floating in space. Compared to like this one over here, we can kind of see the cast of shadow on the stairs and over here. Casting a shadow is important when trying to make a person feel like they're actually in that space. Shadows are what kind of make an image have depth to it. And if they're just floating on each other, it just looks like you're just taking random pictures. So this was going to be the exercise. It was going to be us sort of like picking one version of this and then doing that and then trying to do it again. But I think I'm actually going to try and just quickly show you myself and then we'll sort of end class here. But then I really want you guys to like when I make an announcement later on in the day about like what masks are in terms of like YouTube videos, watch those videos so that way we are like up to date and like we can jump right into it next week. And then adjustments are again using masks, as you can see over here on the right hand side, but then using them to manipulate, let's say, color or like exposure and a whole bunch of other things. So real quick, I'm gonna go back to the Photoshop. Let me stop sharing for a second. How do I stop sharing? Have I not been sharing this whole time?
No, he wasn't sharing.
Oh my
I
God,
was
guys, why
wondering.
didn't you tell me?
I thought
Oh, come
I thought you were like
on.
just talking. To be honest, I,
Oh,
I wasn't
guys.
aware. I wasn't aware that you were like doing things on the screen, so I just didn't say anything.
Okay, where's the presentation? Guys, that's hilarious. Um, go back a bunch. So, um, here's me floating. Here's me floating in the chair. Did I talk about this with the actual thing? I don't even
Yeah, the
remember
one I
anymore.
didn't see was with the space you was talking about, but I seen this part already. We seen this part.
Okay, this?
Yeah, I seen that too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that
This?
too. Yeah, I seen that. No, I didn't see this. This part we didn't see.
Okay. Guys, come on. See, now you're embarrassing me. I'm embarrassing myself, honestly. Okay, so when we start to make, like understand math, this is what I'm talking about. You just kind of see that they made little fake shadows here, and that helps sort of like make it look more realistic. But you can just mask out a background and make a person look huge, or make them look kind of tiny, like this person over here on the slide. This is a tiny little person sliding down over here. This is just someone sitting on the bench. But then you have like a giant hand over here, and it's just a mask over the photograph. And then we have like clones over here where there's one person here and understanding where the next version can be. You kind of sit over here, one stands here, one stands here. And you have like six different versions of people's, and then you just have like again the background image. And this is where I'm talking about like the shadows. This guy is going down the stairs, and then he's just sort of standing here looking out the window but there's no shadow on his feet. There's no shadow against the wall. So it just sort of feels like he's just sort of floating in that space, right? It's like a ghost in the area, which cool on its own, right? But not what we wanted to do in class. So that is why shadows are important. You can look at the shadows on this side, underneath the leg, against the stairs, and then sort of like in little places, otter and like, and I go back to this one again, like shadows on the back of my head. Shadows help show that this person is in space and light is hitting them and hitting other objects. And so when we talk about adjustments next week, again, we're going to be manipulating colors. You can see that there's still masks over here, but we're able to make a lot more selection of where masks are going to be. Give me a second. Now I'm going to stop sharing again, and I'm going to try and like set up a thing so I can show you what it is we were going to do with like what I did today. Where are they? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Um, do. Nice, nice. Okay, so I have, where's the background one? Great. I'm gonna open this with Photoshop. Woohoo. Okay, let me get another image just to start. Mm. What am I supposed to do that? That's not the Roblox sounds. Oh my God, I'm sorry, my nephews. Okay, here we go. Yay. And here's another one. Eee. You guys can't see this, don't even worry. Okay. Let's just bring in a bunch. All right, I'm gonna share my screen again. So I have Photoshop over here. It's me. I'm in the snow. Um, get out of here with the freaking controls. So here is a few versions of myself. Ooh, what is this one? Okay, let me get this one too. Uh, Boom. I have a bunch of different versions of myself in the snow, right? Here's one photograph. Here's another. Here's another. Here's another. And then here's just a simple background one. Okay? So I have one, two, three, four versions of myself plus the background one. If I start with this image, I can just quickly make a selection of myself, right? I'm going to do object select, and hopefully it just selects my entire body. Come on. I have the wrong layer selected. Come on. No, okay, I'm gonna have to do this manually. So I'm just gonna select my head, my body, and whoa, and I'm just gonna hit mask. And then boom, there's me. I still look like I'm standing in that space. It's not perfect, but I have in the bottom right, you can see that there's already a mask on that layer. I'm gonna turn on the second layer, and again, that other one hides. It goes away because this image doesn't have any mask
You're
on it.
lagging out a little bit.
Oh, I'm lagging. Okay. I
Yeah,
don't
you're
know.
just cutting out a little bit for me.
Chat, what's going on? I don't know. Where is the actual chat though? Okay, I don't know where this is supposed to. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to make another mask of this layer. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and I'm going to just get my head, my arms, and I see I made a little mistake there. I'm going to subtract from this selection, make sure it looks perfect. And now I'm going to hit the mask button again. And you can already see that there's two versions of myself, one over here to the left and one on the right. And you can see already I have a few versions of the masks down here. And so I'll start the next layer as well. I turn this one on. I'm over here standing by this pole and I'm going to make a selection. Wrong one. I'm going to make a selection of my arm, my head, and my legs that are kind of stuck in the snow. I'll get some of the snow too, so that way it looks more realistic. So I'm going to subtract from the selection. I don't need all of this. We and then mask. And I got all that because hey, the camera moves, so I need to move myself so that way I'm sort of in the right spot. It's gonna be close enough. I'll just do that. Whoa. And now I'm sort of like looking like I'm there. So now I have three versions of myself in this picture so far. And let's just quickly do the last one as well. Here's me all the way in the back, sort of like crying over here. Whoa, I'm gonna bring up the selection tool, get my hands, e get my hands, my body, my head, get it all, get it all, get it all. Wee. And then let me subtract from this over here. Good enough. And then, whoa. So this is where I start to say making sure where things are with each other because now I have a version of myself which is sort of in front of it. And even if I try to move this back, I just sort of end up hiding behind myself, right? And so that is where it starts to become important about understanding where each image was taken. I wasn't paying attention. I blocked myself. I wonder if I could just move it to like over here. Oof, I kind of got the back of the car, so it looks weird. If I hide it like that, hey, that looks good enough. Hey, there you go. Now we have four different versions of myself sort of hidden in this space. And again, because this is a mask, the entire image is still there. I'm not destroying this image at all. I still have the whole image. I can move this all the way up, and there it is. And then, no, come on, come on. Everything is still there. I have not destroyed anything here. And because these two masks aren't touching, they're still showing. But if I go too far, then I'm gonna start ruining the mask itself. These are the bounds of the image. But as long as there's a mask and they don't touch each other, kind of like over here in this section over here, when they start to overlap, that's when things get a little funky. But if I keep it safe enough, you won't even notice. How are we doing so far with this? Are we understanding?
Yes.
Yay. So that was the cloning version of it. And now I'm going to try and do like another version of the scaling. And then we'll be good. I'm going to have to stop sharing again for a second. I get too many windows open. Has anyone ever used Mask before, by any chance?
I
I probably have once.
I used it by accident.
You used it by accident? Yeah, in
When I was
class, if you
doing
ever.
when I was doing the project, I kind of wound up doing it,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and I
yeah. So
got
like,
stuck with it.
if
So
we think about the assignment, Charlie says a little bit. Yeah, if we think about the assignment, like when we are like that first homework of using the buildings, you have to make sure you got the buildings perfect because if not, you just got like you're missing a couple windows, you're missing like the whole roof of a building maybe. And so now, if you haven't already done it, now you can have a little shortcut and you can like make it perfect on the first try, or you can just fill it in later, right? Like I kind of made you guys suffer a little bit to make sure you use selection properly. So now that we get to masks, it's like we can appreciate it. Okay, let me go back to this thing I have to do here. Okay, so we have okay, this is it. Great, 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 great. I'm gonna open that. Yay. I'm gonna open this. Oh shit. Yes. Nice. We're here. Nice. All right, this is gonna look stupid. Okay, so let me share my screen again. I have a bunch of images down here, and they're gonna look a little funky at first. So I have one of me, like the camera is above me, and if I turn this one off, another one of the camera above me, and then one where the camera is sort of like below me, and I'm sort of like towering over the camera, and then one of, again, just an empty background. If I were to turn on that one of me being big and whatever, I'm going to again make a selection. I got my hands. I got the wrong layer selected. I'm going to select my entire body. I got everything. Come on. There we go. And so what's going to happen is this one is I'm trying to deal with scale, right? Understanding where the camera goes and where like the other photographs lay on top of each other. I can manipulate scale. So that way I'm going to look big here. So if I do this and I hit mask, boom, there I still look normal size. But if I start to stretch this out and make it bigger, and I start to go like, let's say that far, like that, and then here's where the opacity kind of comes into play. I'm going to use a brush tool and I'm going to use black, right? I have the layer selected, I have the brush tool, and I'm going to flip it to black mode. I'm going to erase my legs over here. And that already starts to make it look like I'm standing behind this little mountain of snow. And if I change the opacity up here, let's say to like 18%, I can sort of make myself look a little hazy. And I bring in the trees over here so that way it looks like I'm like really huge and like really far in the background. And like, whoa, now I'm like this huge monster. Although I think, maybe it looks a little too light. I can again flip this back and bring in some more color over here. Does that make sense so far? Let me
yeah,
erase some of this more. Yes, yay. All right, let me make this. I want to make this perfect. Oh, right, I'm sorry, low opacity. Whew. So now you can kind of see that like all that is sort of like still looking like it's in front of the camera. All this is sort of blending. You can see the trees, so that way it feels like I'm kind of far behind. And so if I bring in the next image of me being tiny and small, because I like the camera's above me, so it's kind of like you're looking down on me. I'm going to again make a selection, kind of zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to get my body, make sure I get my boots, like that, like that, like that. That should be good. And then I hit mask. And now I'm going to make this version of this photograph really small. So now it looks like I'm tiny against the floor. And there's like a big version of me. And then the same thing over here. Turn this one on. I'm going to make another selection. Although my head is a little chopped off, but it's fine. I get this, all of that. And then I make a mask and I can shrink this down. And then now it looks like there's two little versions of myself scared of this giant version of me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And if we look at the masks that I use with the opacity, you can kind of see where things are sort of being brought in and out. So if I were to click option over here, you can see, I made a selection. You can kind of see, oh, parts of the image is hidden away, parts of the image is showing, parts of it is kind of faded away. And all of this is sort of showing, hey, where was I working? What is the proof that I was editing this image to sort of make it blend as much as possible? If I press option, click again, I can see it there. So this is kind of showing how I can manipulate space to make it all kind of fit together, understanding how things overlap with each other to make sure they don't sort of like, I don't block myself too much over here. I wonder if I make this bigger, what'll happen? When I make this bigger? No, it's just come right there next to myself. Huh. Okay. Well, there you go. So that is masks, and then the other one was just floating objects, which I didn't have time to make a demo, but we'll deal with that next week, right? Because we're gonna try and do this ourselves, hopefully not in the cold, and it'll all make sense. We so what else did I want to add here? Um, I don't want you guys to think you have to do any classwork for today. We will figure that out later. Um, and if you guys have used Mask before, like let's say you brought an image in and you saw the little button at the bottom where it said remove background, you've seen this before, and you're just kind of like good enough. But sometimes you would use it and you would see that it kind of had like a, I didn't get everything right, like kind of like using the object select tool. It kind of gets some of the floor, it kind of doesn't get all the clothes right. Moving forward, I still don't want you guys to use the remove background tool because it does sort of like put you in a shitty situation where it's like it didn't do a great job. It gets you like 90% of the way there, but 90% isn't going to give you like the 100% to make everything look perfect. If you just sort of like give an extra 30 seconds, you yourself can do a better job. So this is sort of like the introduction to masks. Next week we're going to talk about adjustments. If you haven't done the homework already, do it. If you want to try and use adjustments, no, sorry, adjustment. You want to use masks for it, go ahead. We've kind of suffered enough with just using the selection tool and copy and paste. You're not going to need to do that anymore. You can um, just use the masks for anything that you've done so far. And if you did the homework, and I'm gonna grade it right after this, and you think like, oh, I want to do a better job, you can do the homework again, and you can use masks and try and get it better. And then it's gonna be snowy today, so maybe you'll have like pretty photographs of like snow. Um, I know this was kind of quick. It was kind of dirty. It was like a little under an hour. I did kind of rush through it. I'm gonna make sure I find you guys videos so that way you can kind of watch it at your own pace. I think this is recording too. I'm gonna make sure I share the photos, the for the presentation as well on Brightspace. But any questions? I tried to get it done with the web version, but it kept resetting. Yeah, the web version is not even worth it. I'm not gonna lie. It really kind of sucks. Like it's like a very limited version. Like even if you have like an iPad and has like Photoshop Express, it's like it doesn't even work. Honestly, I feel like the iPhone like masking out things is better if like you have like a new iPhone. You can't access any of the Adobe apps. I will email me and I'll see if I can figure out what the problem is. But yeah, if you guys can download Photoshop at home, I still say do it so you can mess with it on your own with these YouTube videos. If you're having trouble downloading it, let me know. And if you can access Adobe but your computer isn't strong enough, I'm sorry. Oh, you emailed me yesterday. I'm sorry. I'll look at it again.
That's
Um, Sorry, I'm reading the
Excuse me?
chat. Sorry, I'm using the chat for Carla.
Excuse me?
Um, yes, what?
So I was having a problem with Adobe yesterday because they were it was because it kicked me out for some reason. Wait, no, last week, yeah, last week.
Yeah, I remember I spoke to you as well. You're having issues. Okay. I wish we could have spoken in class. Okay, email me also, and so I will try and help figure out what that problem is. Um, but why did it kick you out? I don't know. We'll see if we can figure it out together. But let me get attendance real quick. Uh. Yeah, so if you ever try to access Adobe at home and you can't, don't worry, I'm never gonna make accessing Adobe at home like a requirement. I'm not gonna be like, guys, you have to do this assignment at home. I'm always gonna give you more than enough time so that way you can access it in class or during open lab hours. It's awesome if you can access it at home so that way you can sort of do it on your own time. But I want you guys to have it so that way you never have to pay for it. I don't want you guys to have it so you can like do the homework. No, homework can be done in class or during lab hours. Um, but yeah, don't ever pay for Photoshop if you don't have to. That's capitalism. Uh, so if you haven't tried to access Photoshop, try. And if you have tried and it's not working, email me. And if we can't figure it out, I'm sorry, but we should be able to. I only have like two students not be able to figure it out. Um, okay. This is question time. Ask me questions.
I have a question. Just more about the assignment. Um, was you supposed to make it really look like a cartoon? Not a cartoon, like an actual drawing, child's drawing, because that's what I was focusing on.
I mean, it just had to be flat. Like I didn't need to like you do like Photoshop filters and like make it look like it's a drawing. No, just make
Because
sure
that's
like
what
the
I was
images look like.
doing, and I was giving
Oh my
myself a
gosh.
headache. I sent
Oh
you an
no 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 no
email.
no.
I sent you an email. I was giving myself a headache about it, so I
When
wasn't.
how I'm not getting any emails. What the hell?
Yeah, I sent it yesterday as well.
Okay, I'm gonna look at what's going on with my emails because I'm not getting any emails. Some of you have been saying you email me. I'm not getting anything. Okay, I'll look into why I'm not receiving emails. Maybe I have my own problems. Oh damn, I got a lot of emails of people joining the thing. Oh yeah, I just got here Sunday at 8:40. Oh, I was probably knocked out at that time. Um, but yeah, any other questions?
Nada.
Yeah, if you can't finish the assignment until like we're back in class, I totally understand. Um, Again, I understand that this sort of gets in the way of a lot of things. Maybe I'll even have some time in class next week so we can like finish the assignment, ask any questions. Again, if you want to, come email me for office hours, 1 to 2, right before class. I'll be there. I'll literally sit with you and be like, this is what you press, this is what you press, this is what you press, and then you get an A because I tell you what to do. Um, but yeah. The assignment, I'm going to push it a week. I'll make an announcement for that too. I'm pushing the due date of the assignment a week because it's not fair for you guys. Yeah?
Cool.
Cool.
Cool. Great.
I already took attendance. So someone asked me one more question. I don't believe there's not one more question. How are you guys doing? How's the snow?
I'm under weather, but it could be better.
It was my birthday
Yeah.
last week.
Oh, happy birthday. That's
Happy
oh,
birthday.
that's really awesome. Happy birthday to you. Okay.
I'm currently 19 actually.
Happy birthday. Happy 19. Gosh, I wish I was 19 again. I'm sounding like an old man, but yeah, I wish I was. Oh, you're getting happy birthdays in the chat. Whoa.
Oh, look at me
Um
blushing now.
Yeah, it's happy birthday to you. But yeah, I hope everyone obviously stays safe. Um don't rush to do the homework. We'll have time next week. If you can't take photos and like you haven't done it already, do that, but like go out and be safe when you take pictures. Don't come to me like, "Oh, I broke my leg because you told me to take pictures." I didn't tell you to go out in the blizzard. I'm talking fast. Okay. Yeah, I think we're done. I'm gonna send out wait. To play in the snow. That's nice. Yeah, I hate snow right now because it's just like a lot of shoveling. I gotta help my dad out. Uh, so what was I gonna say? God, I got distracted. Next week, you guys are gonna have like sort of doing in-class mask work, but also in-class adjustment work. But if you need time to do assignment number one, please come before class so I can help you. And then hopefully we can end actual class early, even though we have like a truncated class. So do everything you can. Even though I'm pushing it another week, you still have an opportunity to get a full credit, even if you have to make multiple submissions. Submit something. That way you can get full credit. I think I explained this, right? You submit something on time and you get infinite amount of chances to get 100%. But if you submit something late, then you start getting like 90 is your max or 80 is your max. So submit something. All right. Everyone show your face for a second. I just gotta say goodbye. I gotta tell them when the administration asks, did you show their faces? Yeah, cameras are on. Show your face, show your face, show your face, show your face. Wow, look at you guys. Wow. Wow. I need to prove that everyone showed their face. Wow. Yay. Okay. Oh, look, it's the little thumbs up is showing. Okay, let me take a quick picture. Yes, people had their cameras on. Nice. Okay. Even though some of them are just black. Okay. I think class is over. If you have any questions, email me. I'm going to figure out why it's not working. I'm also going to send out YouTube links so you can watch masks and be
Thank
safe.
you. Have a good day.
You too, guys. Be safe.
Have a nice day.
All right, everyone leave. Goodbye. No, have a
Wait,
nice
wait, wait,
day.
wait. I have a question. I have a
Oh, okay.
question.
Carl has a question. Carl has a question.
Okay, okay. So you
Yes.
said to submit something at least, right, for the assignments. Can I
Mm-hmm.
still submit something today for yesterday's assignment, the street?
Yeah, so I'm pushing that assignment 1 week,
Okay,
but
okay.
if you submit something now, then I'm able to like figure out if you have any problems and we can figure it out.
Okay, okay. Okay, I'll do that then. Thank you so much. Have a
Yay.
good one.
Bye.
Hey, Professor, I'm just double checking to make sure. So so the assignment for today, that's being pushed to next week?
Yeah, it's pushed to next week.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Because I sent you like a whole email, about a whole thing. Well, yeah,
I'm not getting emails. I'm
TLDR.
sorry, man.
Yeah, it's just well, TLDR, mom had surgery, so I've been taking care of her, so I didn't have enough time to Photoshop. Plus the snow now, I'm pretty much gonna be the only one, you know, shoveling it. So,
Okay,
um,
yeah. The
yeah,
assignment has been pushed a week for next week. Don't stress. You do what you got to do. I want everyone to be safe before they start doing homework. School is not that important. Take care of yourself first, all right?
no, yeah, definitely, because definitely the snow just dropped like crazy last night, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a whole deal. So I'm gonna be out there in like a couple hours, but yeah, but I've been screwing around with Photoshop. I finally got it on my computer, and
Awesome.
actually, yeah, and actually the stuff that you were teaching in class today, I was actually screwing around with that last night too and figuring it out. So
Okay.
interestingly,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So
So I guess when I send you YouTube links, I'll send you specifically a harder one. I'm just kidding. No, but like yeah, get familiar.
well,
If
if
you
you,
can, get familiar.
yeah, yeah, definitely, and I'll submit something real quick what I got so far.
Okay.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, and then yeah,
Awesome.
okay. All
I'll
right.
see you next
Thanks,
week.
Professor. See
Take
you next
care.
week. Thank you,
All
you too.
right. And